Good morning. I am Diane Simmons from Cake Connection in Jackson, Michigan. And today we are going to do a variety of graduation treats. I will say, if you were with us the other day, it's not exactly what I had planned because the grocery store was out of several things that I was thinking. So we're still doing some grocery store goodies, but we're mixing in, we're going to do some candy mold stuff and different things just to give you hopefully some fun ideas. My overall main goal with this one today is hopefully it's things a little more quick and simple, and possibly a graduate might want to assist with this. So we tried to keep the real super complex and multi-step stuff out of this. All right. First off, before we get going, I'm going to show you today's prize package that we are doing. Remember, you need to give us a shout out, let us know you're here so you can win. Just an FYI, we've got a variety of sprinkles, so I've got 6 different tubs of sprinkles here, some colored chocolate, some colored foil cupcake liners, candy sticks, and some chocolate. Obviously, we've picked out all red and white. That's just probably one of our more popular colors as far as what we run into at graduation season. But if you have a graduation coming up and have, certain school colors or something, if you win, let us know, and we are more than happy. We'll swap out the best we can. Burgundy is my trouble spot, but other than that, we've got, a wide variety of colors and stuff, so we'll hook you up if you know you've got a graduation party coming up if you win. We'll switch out and get the colors that you need. Okay? So, to get going, kind of on our note with the sprinkles, I have an assortment here. Like I said, we're just going to work mainly with red and white today, just because it's such a popular color. But I want to let you know, too, we do have local school color mixes in sprinkles. We'll have Eric zoom in on those so you can see them. But some of our popular schools in the area, the color combinations, we've already got those mixed up for you. So you don't have to buy, 2 or 3 different bottles of sprinkles if you only need 1 bottle. Okay? And I do have 1 burgundy item that we've just recently gotten in. Some little sequins. So we made a burgundy and gold one too, because we do have a lot of local schools with that as well. Alrighty. So we'll set those aside. And here are just some of our things that we did the other day. Still kind of flows with the treats and stuff idea. Just want to show you if you weren't with us. These are just made on some gum paste. But this was from our edible image class. You can go back and watch if you want to, see exactly how we did any of this. But some chocolate covered Oreos. Just some little discs to put in cupcakes. Again, a little cupcake pick, okay? But this is all done with the edible images. Okay, alrighty. So, I'm going to make up just a little bit of mix here. And I actually have 6 different sprinkles that I've grabbed. So we have some nonpareils, some little sequins, some more nonpareils, woo, and they're going everywhere, yahoo. And then some white sequins, and let's see, we got some red jimmies here, and some red sugar crystals. So I just think it makes it kind of fun, and you've got different textures going on, different shapes and whatnot when you make a blend like that. Obviously, you don't have to. But it's just kind of fun getting the different... Let's see, what's a good way to... Oh, wait, I got an idea here. I'll put some on a paper towel so you can kind of... And I'm going to use these on some of the different things we're doing today. But you can see you've got different shapes and textures and stuff going on in there. So, kind of fun. All right. So there, we've got our mix made up. Let's get rolling. All right, I'm going to start off with some candy stuff as soon as I warm the chocolate up just a little bit more. I popped it in there right before we started. Not quite long enough. So I've melted some red chocolate. All right, if you have questions as far as melting or anything, I have a couple different chocolate videos. I'm not going to go in depth with any of that. I don't want to sit here and do a bunch of repeats for people that have been with us all the different classes that we've done. But there's tons of information in my prior videos on the chocolate as far as how to melt it, what to watch for, you know, different things, stuff you can do with it. As you can see, yes, I am a microwave melter rather than double boiler. All right, so I have some red chocolate in here. And I do have some chocolate on this brush already. I was working with it a little earlier, just prepping some stuff. I'm just going to put that down in there just to rewarm the brush and melt everything off of it. And get the excess off. And now my brush is nice and soft again, not stick with the chocolate. All right, so this is just one of our Diploma candy molds. This would be good for like cupcake toppers. If you just were going to hand dip some Oreos, you could use it just to lay on top of those if you wanted. Certainly you can use them just on their own. Okay. There is, if you notice, there's the little bow, the tie on it. Okay. So I just have again, a soft paintbrush. And glasses need to go on for this. Alright. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time showing different painting, but I'm just kind of working it around with the brush. Oh, sorry if you hear that drain in the background. We're doing dishes downstairs. Okay, so there we have just painted. All right, and I did the same thing. I've got several different molds. This is a pretzel mold, so I painted the red in. I went through and did that on a lot of these, okay? So I'm not going to keep repeating and doing more red. Just want to show you the basic premise of it, all right? Just a soft paintbrush. Melt your chocolate. I do normally put a little Paramount crystals in there. All right. But then once you have that painted, you want to let it set up. Okay. The one that I just did, I would not put chocolate in that yet. Okay. Oops, I got to rewarm the white back up just a little bit. And I do typically tend to let them set up at room temperature. Okay. You can put them in the refrigerator if you need to. All right. Just one word of caution: when we're doing something really thin like this, where I painted all the red bows in and stuff, if you put those in the refrigerator, you have a lot better chance of them cracking on you. Okay. We obviously don't want that. So like I said, I typically tend to let everything set up at room temperature, if possible, and go from there. Okay, so I have my white chocolate. I just threw a little bit more Paramount crystal in there, just to thin it down a little bit more.
We did have one question come in.
Okay, what's our question?
For your sprinkle mix, if someone
Yes.
wanted to make a larger batch, do all the sprinkles come in larger quantities?
Many of them, if you ask ahead, I can get in 1 pound packages. We do stock several here in 1 pound, but if it's something, if we package them in-house, you know, some of our items we buy in bulk in the first place, so I may have 10-pound boxes of it back here, so I can make you up a 1 pound bag real quick and easy, no problem. Okay? But again, just that's something, if at all possible, if you can pre-order that, we greatly appreciate that, just so we've got time to get the bags around in case we happen to be busy. Okay? Alright, so I have my white chocolate here. And again, we're going to pour into the 2 that I let set up. The one that I just did is actually now, just from me running over to the microwave and stuff, it's pretty well set. So I probably can pour in there too if I want. Alright. There. Just going to pour that in. And then tap. We always want to tap our mold. I'll fill a couple of them, I guess. You always want to tap it, especially if you're just doing solid chocolate like this. That levels it off, and also, there we go. So we'll fill 2 of them. That makes the chocolate work its way into any crevices. If there's any air bubbles trapped, they will come to the top of the surface also. Okay, so just a couple taps. Set it aside. We can throw it. Actually, I'll do that. I'll throw it just a minute. Now I gotta go ahead and fill the other one, because otherwise that red's gonna crack if I put this in the freezer. And you know me, I just can't let that happen. And if you overfill, just take icing spatula or something and just run along the edge and clean that off. Okay, you want to do that before you put it in the freezer. There we go. Okay, so into the freezer those go. Next up, we'll do this. So these are the pretzel molds I was telling you about. I've got the red painted on there. So, couple options here. If you want to do the whole thing as white chocolate, then you would just go ahead, pour your white in there. Okay, you don't want to completely fill it. Until you have your pretzel rod in. Okay. And then we're going to lay that down in there. This one's bent just a little bit weird. That's okay. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and cover that up. Okay. I typically, if I'm using these molds, I don't completely fill these up. I would rather, and hopefully you guys can see this, I would rather take a paintbrush, a end of a spoon, something, work it up to the edge. But two things. If you fill it completely covering the pretzel, you know, if you try to totally fill this mold all the way up, it's going to want to run down where your pretzel's laying, okay? That's not something I want, but I guess if you do, you can. Alternatively, you could basically build a bridge first, all right? And what I mean by that, so I'll work down here in just the empty one to show you. So you could go in here around the end of your pretzel and just take your brush, and it would take a few times to do it, but you basically are building the chocolate up And I'm not going to sit here and do this whole thing and make you guys watch, but hopefully you'll get the idea what I'm doing here. Okay? But just let this keep building up. And then eventually, as it starts to cool down and you can put more coats on, this is going to build up right here. Okay? So once this is full, and you, like I said, you've created kind of a dam, I guess. All right? So if we let that keep cooling, you could keep putting more chocolate up there, just right here in this area where I'm running the brush, okay? So you want to build that chocolate up so when you fill the rest of the cavity, it can't run backwards down to where the pretzel is, okay? And you would want to do that on both sides of it, just so you've got that built up and taken care of, okay? And again, it's a little bit of a process, but it works, okay? See in here, I'm just kind of tapping it on the top. And can you zoom in and see that at all? What we're doing there? Okay, so theory is right in here, just build it up, let it cool a little bit, build it up, add a little more, okay? Otherwise, you end up with what we've got going on down here. You can see it. The chocolate's kind of running backwards down the pretzel a little bit. So that's why typically I don't fill them up all the way, because I'm not the overly patient person. I don't have time for that so much. But it can be done if you want to. Okay? So then, other option, if you don't want white chocolate in the whole thing, okay, you could go in here and put the white in if you want. You don't have to. You could do it all with your milk or dark chocolate, just in the first place if you want. But you basically just got to brush and cover your sides and get that spread around in there. One thing, when you're painting over a color, especially if you're doing white, you know, on the red like this, I am being very careful not to run that brush completely down and hit my mold where that red is. I don't want to streak that around and have it bleeding, okay? But the rest of this, I'm trying to work towards you guys so you can see that better. I'm just brushing it up the sides just to get everything covered with white. And you could, obviously I can't right now because of how I've got the other pretzel in there, but if this is all you're doing, you could do what I've shown in my candy videos too. If you've been, you know, watching along with us, you could flip it upside down and let it drain out and have a nice even coat on there. Okay, so just a minute, let me grab some parchment paper here. I'll see if I can hold it and do it. Okay, I'm going to take this one out, just because I know it's going to fall. Some of this chocolate's going to run out. That's not our desired goal, but I want to show you just if you were doing it like this, you could coat it all in white, flip it upside down, and you can see where it's starting to run back out. We basically just want to drain that, and that way you'll have a nice even coat in there. But then you can put your chocolate, if you prefer, to have like your milk chocolate or something in there. I'm just going to tap this and hopefully speed it up a little bit. Yeah, we're doing the same thing in the other one. Here, I'm going to take that pretzel right out, since we already showed you that. Alright, scrape the edges there. Get those cleaned up. Okay, so there you can see they're empty. Oops, do we have questions?
Yep, you got
Eric's
three.
holding his hand up.
Yeah, handful.
All right, what do we got?
So someone asked when you were putting your pretzel in, they asked why you didn't roll it. Or is there...
I did a little bit. You probably didn't see me. I did roll it just a little bit in there, just to coat it some. but then I more so went back in with the chocolate to cover it.
Okay, and then would a bag and tip work to fill the molds?
Are you talking about the bow part or just to fill it in general? To fill it in general, I don't think it would make any difference versus using a spoon. That's just my thought on the matter. I'm going to do what I tell you not to do. I'm going to throw this in the freezer just to set it up real quick. Okay? And here, there you've got just our small little ones done. And also, if you haven't done candy before, when you notice all I did was just tap that, that is all you should ever need to do with a candy mold. Do not ever ring it back and forth like this. You will risk cracking it while it's frozen, okay? Just come out, lightly tap. They should fall out just like those did. If they don't, put them back in the freezer for a minute. Okay?
And then one more.
Yep.
Have you been surprised with how far your live classes have spread?
As far as where they went to, where people are watching from?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
I have, yes. We have had people from Australia and New Zealand. I saw a lady from Chile has been on a couple times. It is like the coolest thing ever. So yes, I've been like very surprised and okay. And a bolt just fall out of the chair, so we're standing up. And for those of you that may not have seen my announcement, just so we all officially know, Friday is going to be our series finale, I guess I'm calling it, okay? I have opened the store back up, and actually, I have not advertised the matter, but I technically could have been open the entire time through this. I just didn't really feel it was necessary, okay? So we just did the curbside, but I do have several different essential businesses that I sell to. We have some local grocery stores and other businesses that we sell to that they are open and operating through all this. So we've been here, I've been here to service them, but I've also just been taking care of customers as needed. But we've gotten pretty busy with the carry out, the curbside and stuff, which we are still doing if anyone wants. But we do have the store open now too. So with that in mind, Friday will be the last show that we're doing. And well, it's the last 11 a.m. show that we're doing. Okay? Not to say we're not going to do something else. I just have to figure out the timing for when. I'm thinking maybe like a Tuesday or Wednesday night or something might be good. I don't know. Got to put a little thought into that. Okay? But as far as, I can't keep doing this while the store's open. Hope you understand. I've had a wonderful time doing this, but I do got to be able to wait on customers too. So, all right, back to pretzel mold. So we've got the white, just the shell in there. So if you want to fill it with chocolate, now that the white's set up, and this, again, is not something you have to do. This is just if you prefer dark chocolate or milk chocolate or something over the white, but you want the white for the color, okay? And there, I just rolled it if you saw that, okay? And then I just want to take my spoon here and kind of run that up to the edges. But again, I don't typically fill this back here all the way, just because I don't want it to run down the rest of the pretzel. All right, so there's what you would do for that. And I'm going to pop that back in the freezer. And we'll let that one completely set up so you can see that here in just a minute. And on to our next. Oreo mold. okay? I painted some red down in there. And then you would just take the white and put that down in where your diploma is. All right. And I just dribbled a little bit in there on some spots I didn't want it, because I plan on putting the milk chocolate in the rest of this. There, so all I'm doing here is just wiping off where the white, it fell off my spoon in spots I didn't necessarily want it. Okay, so there was filling up and prepping it to put the darker chocolate in. This one I did earlier, it's all set up. I'm not going to pour in this one. Okay, some Oreos and a spoon. Okay, so we just want to put a spoonful or two in here. Do not want to fill this all the way up, okay? Because anything that floats, which you're going to see here another option of this in just a minute, you kind of need to let it set in there before you cover that back, the top of it, okay? If I completely submerge this in the chocolate, more than likely it would end up floating up to the top of it. We don't want that. Okay? So we just want to let that set for a minute. And while I got that sitting, I'll hop on to the next one here that we did. This is just a little bit larger diploma. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, we've already did the little one that's solid chocolate. You know, these over here. What else can we do? Little mini marshmallows. All right. So, if you look at this, the mini marshmallow on its own, can you see that? Sticks up obviously way too far. So, what I did, just took some scissors and cut it in half lengthwise. Okay, whoops. Trying to work towards the camera. There, you can see that better. All right, and some of them, when they're a little bit, the large, because you get different sizes in there. So you do have to kind of go flat. I'm just flattening them back out a little bit. All right. So what I did for that was take the white chocolate, just put a little bit in there, and just kind of work it around. You can use paintbrush if you want, or you can just kind of sit here and swirl it around some. So I'm just kind of moving my candy mold gently and letting it work up to all the edges. But then you just want to take your marshmallows, and here I'm just going to use one of my sucker sticks to push those down in a little bit. And you could also do, if you wanted like some peanuts, for example, would work great for this. You may have to use like a half peanut or something, but anything shallow you could put in there as a filling if you wanted. Okay, so I've got this one over here I did a little bit earlier. So once they set up, and again, same thing as with the cookie, I don't want to completely cover these yet because I don't want those marshmallows floating and poking out the back of it. All right. So this one I did earlier, they're completely set up in there. And then we'll just go back through, cover with some chocolate, and I'm tapping it just to level everything, okay? And then right there, I got that little bit of extra that ran over the edge. I'm just taking just a smooth edge blade. There we go, I'm getting our excess off that. Okay? Always best clean those up before you do anything with them, okay? And we'll pop that in the freezer. right. This one's starting to sit up in there, so we will cover that with a chocolate now.
Someone asked if it was better to refrigerate the molds to help them set up.
You can put them in the refrigerator. I typically, once I have the mold completely full like this, I go to the freezer because you've got a lot more mass of chocolate, okay? If you have just a shell, you know, if you've made the shell, kind of like what I did with the pretzel mold there at first, you could put it in the refrigerator, but again, I just really caution, keep an eye on it, okay? If you don't, you're very likely to break it. And we'll probably find out a good example. Because when I did the pretzel, I only filled one of them, if you remember. When I had that white shell and then I filled it with the darker chocolate and put the pretzel in. I left the other white shell just sitting there. So when I take these out of the freezer, there's a very good chance that white shell one is probably going to crack on me. Because it's just too much cold. Alright, so there, we're done with the minis. Now, next thing I want to show you, start getting some of this stuff out of the way here. Is basically just dipping, and we're going to use our sprinkle mix that we made. I am going to use just some standard size marshmallows, but something like this. You can do, you know, don't kind of think out of the box. You could buy or make your own brownies. You can cut them into little squares. You could take a round cutter. You know, you could make little bites. If you had a full tray of brownies, you could go through, cut them out, put them on sticks and dip them. Cheesecakes. I know, like locally, we have Gordon Food Service that has little pedophores, frozen cheesecakes, different things. So, kind of look at some of this stuff. Excuse me. It's quick, it's easy. You can dip it in chocolate, put your school colors on it, make it your own, and people think you're just, oh wow, you're Betty Crocker gone wild there. Okay? So, to do, I'm going to dip over here in the dark because I got a lot more in the bowl, or in my tub here. Alright, whoops. Let's talk about the stick first. My bad. Almost ran you guys ahead here. Okay, so these are just candy sticks. Okay, they come in many different sizes for your prize packet. Here, I'll grab these and show you real quick. This is some shorter ones. Alright. If you happen to already have some longer ones than what you want to use, a pair of wire cutters works great. You can cut them in half if you want to get two out of them. If you just want it a little bit shorter, yes, you're going to have some waste, but you could shorten them up just a little bit. Alright, so wire cutters will work. Kind of work with what, you know, like I said, if you've got a package, work with them. Alright, so I typically do what I call pre-drilling. Alright, a marshmallow, you don't necessarily have to do this, just because it's they're pretty sticky inside anyways. But I want to show you this. So if you're doing a brownie, if you're making a cake pop, you could also go buy like some of the donut holes and do those. And anything like that, all right? You want to pre-drill and then just drop a little bit of chocolate down in there, okay? And then we'll also take my stick and put a little chocolate on there. But I'm going to sit here and kind of work it back to the hole, okay? You need some chocolate down inside if, and here I will explain myself so it makes sense, okay? And one of my friends was laughing at me the other day when I explained this a lot more thoroughly in my chocolate video. But if you have, you know, imagine this is your the top of your brownie, your marshmallow, whatever you're putting your candy stick into, okay? I'm just showing it so it's a little bit bigger, makes sense. If you're just pushing this down in there and there's not a hole there already, if you've dipped your candy stick in chocolate and dipped down in, all that chocolate is doing is coming up to the surface, okay? You're not going to have anything inside of it actually holding that stick still. So you really want to, if you're doing a lot of them, I would even suggest throw some chocolate into a bag so you can get a nice little point on there. And this is what, if I'm doing a bunch of cake pops, I will literally put some chocolate in a bag, put a little, snip a tiny hole at the end of it, so I can go through and squirt that down into and make sure there's chocolate inside every hole. That way it's giving your stick something to grab onto inside of the product, okay? I have not had any sticks fall off or anything when I do this. So I'm a strong advocate. Pre-drill them bad boys, okay? Put this off here. Let me grab another spoon. Where's the left one too? Okay, so set these aside here so you can see what we're doing. So we've got our stick inserted, and typically you want to let that set up a little bit, okay? So your stick is on there. Then you're just going to dip down in. I'll turn this so hopefully you can see in there. Just cover the whole thing. And then come back out. You can spin it. Trying to let you see, but I don't want to spin it outside here. It'll make a huge old mess, okay? But I usually just spin them off to get some of the excess chocolate off. Then, if you want your sprinkles on, you need to do that basically immediately, okay? And if you want them on the bottom, you can do that too, or it would be the top, okay? But you want to do all that while your chocolate is still wet to get that on there, okay? And then, I did it again, I forgot my green, can you go grab one of those green discs, the round ones? I forgot my holder for this, again. Eric's gonna grab one. Oh, yep, perfect. Okay, this is just some floral foam from like Joanne Michaels, all right? And you just press it down in and let it sit, all right? If you're worried about anything dripping on there, you could put some saran wrap over the top of it and just poke the holes through that. Then you got easy cleanup too, all right? But that is basically the essentials of dipping, okay? Now I want to show you another. Got enough white in here. And here you'll be able to see just a little bit better when I spin, because I got a shorter cup here. So there, my goal is to get most of the excess off there I can. Then we'll go back in. And this one I am only sprinkling on the sides on purpose, because here I have, these are just some little pressed sugar cap and diplomas, okay? So that's something that we can add. Typically, this is, when you have these on display, you're probably going to put them, oh, that was another thing I just want to mention. If you're making like a sweet table or something, you can buy bigger blocks of this, and you could actually cover it in some wrapping paper with your school colors, or, you know, even if you don't want your school colors on there, you could just do something fun. This is running down just a little bit. My sprinkles are running on me, I guess I should say. But you can poke these in where you want to leave them through the wrapping paper, and set them up for your actual display on your table too, that way. Okay? Now, another thing I found, I had Eric at the store. Basically, we were going through, I was on the computer looking at different Keebler cookies because the ones I wanted they didn't have. But then I saw these and I said, wait, do they have the Vienna fingers? Get those, because I had a thought with them. And you guys are going to watch my thought live here, see if it works out. I have not practiced this one or done anything with it. We're just going to see how it rolls.
Yeah, a couple quick questions.
Okay, a couple quick questions.
Do you spin cake pops too? Mine tend to fall off when I spin them. Does the weight of the item have something to do with it?
No, if they're falling off, my gut thought would be that they're falling off because you didn't pre-drill and put some chocolate down inside the cake pop. But to answer, yes, I do spin my cake pops. Like I said, I haven't had them fall off, but I always pre-drill and put some chocolate down inside and have those set up first.
And then the foam for your holder.
Yes.
Would you reuse that, or do you have to get new foam, or each time you do stuff, or kind of what?
No, if you're just using this for yourself for drying purposes, you can reuse. I have a lot of these that we use for classroom, just when we're making, like if we're doing gum paste flowers, or if we're doing a cake pop class, or whatever. I have these discs set out. Yeah, they're going to get some chocolate on them. Like I said, if you're concerned with that, use some like some saran wrap or something, and just lay down on it, and then throw the saran wrap away when you're done. Okay? But no, I absolutely reuse. It's you in your kitchen. No one's going to see if it's messy or anything, if it's just getting your products ready to go out the door, you know, if you're selling them or whatever. Okay? So, there. I had to melt a little bit more white chocolate. I didn't have enough in here to do this. Sorry about that. And my red started. Okay. There, we'll let the red run while it's over there. Okay. So I'm going to take my little Vienna finger cookie. So as Eric turns the camera back over here, you can see. So we're just going to put that in, dip it. And I just noticed as I put it in there, my cookie is broken. Hopefully it's not broken all the way through. I'm tapping it just to level off the chocolate and get a lot of the excess off there. Okay? And then I'm just going to set it down. This is just some parchment paper I have there. Okay? And we'll do a couple just in case I mess up the next part. Because the next part I can kind of maybe see myself messing up.
Alright. So someone
Okay.
Someone asked if you use coconut oil in your melted chocolate.
I never put coconut oil in anything. This is just me personally. If you're doing something for your family and you know, then okay, but I make a point of not using it. I never realized until I got into doing, selling cakes to the public, never realized how many people are allergic to coconut. And it is high numbers. I can tell you that. Lots and lots of people are allergic to coconut. So I'm not a fan of it. I know a lot of people do it. If you're selling to general public or especially at farmers markets or something, really discourage it. Okay? I use Paramount crystals to thin down my chocolate. Just right there. And that's always my recommendation to everyone. Again, just because of the allergy concerns.
And then the other one, how do you prevent the chocolate from hardening up? My chocolate always hardens up 2 minutes after taking it out from the microwave.
Okay, if I were working on a lot of stuff like this, if you go back and watch my chocolate demo video class thing that I did, I do have some more information on this, but just real quickly, I have what's called a bread warmer. All right, it's just a big tray. You can put your pots of chocolate on that. Heating pad set on low or warm. Okay, just be careful, especially if you're using small little tubs of different colors. If whatever you're using, if you have a heating pad, if it's getting too warm, you may need to take an actual, washcloth, towel, something like that, lay down on top of the heat, between the heat and the chocolate, just as a buffer, okay? Kind of to, not really insulate, but basically it doesn't let quite as much heat to the chocolate, but enough to keep it melted, okay? Because you don't want to burn your chocolate while it's on there. But, those things, they work great. As far as just keeping it warm a little bit. Alternatively, you could take a wet towel, put it in the get it super, as hot as you can, but you can put it in the microwave too and warm it up and just set your stuff on that. Have it folded over a few times so it's going to maintain some heat. And then you can set your chocolate on that if you wanted. Just be careful, something like that you don't get it wet. Okay, gotta have glasses for this. All right, again, this was a last minute thought. I'm gonna hope I gotta get rid of some of this excess back here. All right, there we go. Okay, piping with chocolate is a bit of a process because it wants to run out while it's wet. So you gotta kind of have your goal of where you're going with it ready before you start. And try to push it down the side a little bit there. So I'm doing a figure 8 here for the bow, and then we're going to come down there. Not too bad. It'll kind of pass for a diploma-ish. But it's just something, again, a little bit different. But it had the shape that we wanted somewhat. So again, this was just some of the Keebler Vienna fingers. Nutter Butters, I think they indent too much up in the center. I'm not sure if I want to do something like that, but look around at your different cookies and stuff in the grocery store. Like I mentioned, ours was very picked over. So we did not have a lot of options. Take all this out of the freezer and show you some results here. So there is our covered Oreo. There is our marshmallow filled. I'll show you this one from the back just to remind you. This one has our marshmallows. I didn't cap this one off. All right. It was just still in the mold. I could put it back in and cap it off. Okay. Not sure if it's going to show up. This is cracked. Okay. This was the shell that someone asked, can you put them in the refrigerator? There you can kind of see where it's cracking apart. It's probably going to come apart more when I pop this other one out. All right. So there is our chocolate-filled Diploma. We just did the white shell. Filled it with chocolate to put the pretzel in there, okay? This was just our shell And this is why I don't put shells in the freezer, because this is what happens with them. They crack apart. So there's your answer to why we don't do that. Throw these in the sink, please. Okay. Next up, we have some Rolos. Woo, and out they're gonna fall. And you can tell my son likes these because I sent him to the store and we got the great big super duper size bag instead of the little package at the register with 6 or so of them in it. But that's okay. He's wanting some treats after I get done. Set that aside.
Got a question.
Okay, what's our question?
I have been having problems getting my covered Oreos out. They usually pop out, and now half has been sticking in the mold. What am I doing wrong?
Like with what we just did? Wow. They shouldn't be. Typically the only reason anything sticks, well, I have a couple suggestions. First off, try cleaning your mold. Not with soap or anything, okay? Never wash your molds with dish soap. That will strip the finish off them, okay? But you may just have a buildup inside and essentially need to what's called buff your candy mold. So take anything cotton. It could even be a cotton ball, all right? But paper towel, one of your kitchen towels, you know, that's clean, go in and buff it off, okay? That possibly could be making it stick. You may just need to go in and just wipe it, you know, rub it back and forth and let it get cleaned back up again. But my normal thought is just that they haven't been in your freezer long enough, okay? When you look at the mold, so I guess if you've been doing these though, I'm thinking this probably isn't the problem. I'm thinking you probably just need to clean your molds, but check. Possibly your freezer has gotten turned down, so they're just not setting up as quick as what you're used to, okay? But normally if something won't come out of the mold, it's just not chilled down enough. So that would be my thought is clean your mold, but then check and see, you know, if it's like your refrigerator on your refrigerator freezer, that could easily, someone may have put milk away or, you know, something and bumped the setting. So it could be something as simple as that. All right, unwrap a couple candies here. And if you're into making candies, you can certainly make your own ahead of time for this. Okay. And these, I'm sure you have seen 5,001 places all over the internet. But we just want to share how truly quick and easy they are to make. Okay. Tried finding some chocolate-covered graham crackers. Did not happen. So we did the next best thing. And I baked some very thin chocolate cookies. Okay? I rolled those out to 1/4 inch instead of my normal, actually it might have been, no, it's 1/4 inch. But I made a couple different sizes, okay? And the recipe for those, okay, I'm going to have Eric step back away from, because he hasn't tried one yet. And I promise you, he will give me honest feedback for you guys. All right? So here, have a cookie, and then you got to tell him what you think of it. This is basically my sugar cookie recipe that I have posted. And It takes 7 cups of flour for a full recipe. I just made a partial recipe to do these. And actually, look at all these I got. Just from a quarter of the recipe. All right, Eric, what'd you think?
That's a lot of flour.
A lot of flour?
Mm-hmm.
What?
They're hard to chew through. They're good though.
What do you mean a lot of flour? That makes no sense.
They taste
You're
good.
trying to talk like a chef or something silly.
Just chewing through them. They taste good though.
But what I just took out, and I'd never tried this before, I pulled 2 cups of flour out and put in a cup of cocoa. 2 different kinds of cocoa here. So I put equal parts. So it would have been 5 cups of flour, 1 cup of special dark, and 1 cup of just regular Hershey's cocoa. All right, and that's what I did. I just used my recipe I use all the time. I still put the vanilla in there. Did what I did. Left everything else the same. They worked out. So, for what that's worth, if you can't find what you want at the grocery store, there's that option. All right. So, with our little Rolos, I'm just going to take a little dab of chocolate and our cookie here. I probably should put that in the Rolo first. Just a minute. I'm going to wipe that off. I just want the chocolate on my Rolo instead. So that way I don't have a bunch of excess. But then you can just put your cookie on top. And we'll pick that up in just a second so you can see it. And then same thing with the Hershey, or the peanut butter cup here. And that one's a little bit bigger, and we'll just put one of the larger square ones on there. But quick and easy little Diploma, caps. Okay? And that one's starting to sit up. Here, we'll tip those up in just a second for you. So there, quick and easy little projects. All right. Now, this I'm going to have to sit down. I hope it wasn't a pertinent bolt laying on the floor, because I can't pipe this bending over that much. If I fall on my butt, no laughing, people, because there is a stray bolt on my floor from my chair. Oh well, we're going to roll with it. Eric's stepping over to look because he thought I was joking. I really wasn't. Alright, let me throw some of this excess stuff away here.
What would you do for a tassel on those?
Either warm some of my red chocolate up. This is already set back up so I can't do it, but just pipe the chocolate on there real quick. Or that, honestly, the chocolate would be my first choice just because it sets up so much quicker. Okay. Alternatively, I would just use some royal icing for that. Okay. So then we have another, and like I said, I know a lot of this stuff isn't deep thought process stuff, okay? We're just trying to give quick, easy ideas that still look pretty cool, okay? Something to bring in your school colors, bring in the graduation feel, and hopefully something your graduate will help with, okay? Also, just a reminder, if you joined us a little late, be sure and get signed up to win our giveaway today. And we can custom coordinate this if you have a graduation party coming up, if you're the winner. We can change out colors of the sprinkles and stuff on our giveaway today. So, this is just some of the Celebakes Royal Icing. It is ready to go. I just put some in one of our tipless bags. that we have here. Okay. And then I am just going to snip off the end. I'm going to snip off a little bit more than I want. We'll see. Okay, so a few different kind of quick and easy things you can do with these. And I'm just going to quick fill this in. Oh, I forgot I have some actual regular thickness cookies down there. We'll ice those instead. They'll look a little more normal. These are the thin ones I made for the graduation toppers, but then these are some I made that I did out to my normal thickness of my cookies. One thing to note, when I made them so much thinner, I only cooked those for like 5 minutes, I think, and they were done. So keep an eye on them, because with the chocolate, you can't really see a lot as far as looking for browned edges and whatnot. So, one easy thing you could do is take some of your little pre-made decoration, put on there. Okay. So here, we'll do another one. And I'm just doing a quick outline around it, and then I'm running back and forth just to fill it in, okay? You don't have to have fancy cookie tools or anything for this. This stuff, it levels itself off really nice, so that is a good thing. And then here we'll take one of our pre-made candies that we did, and that should fit on there diagonal. Yes, it does. Okay, so you can pre-make little chocolate decorations and put on there. My little palette knife. There we go. All right. And an easier option if you've got your grad in helping get things ready for you. One of you could easily sit here piping the frosting out, hand it off, do the sprinkles. Okay. And there, you just got quick and easy. These also look nice, you know, just making a little circle. You don't have to have a bunch of big fancy, you know, diploma shaped cookies or whatever. And people typically, especially if you're putting out a sweet table, you know, with a variety of stuff, they're not going to want great big cookies or, you know, stuff like that. And if they're, I know this year might be a little bit different, but if they happen to have a few graduation parties that they're hitting up, you know, one day or something, not sure what if we're going to get released from quarantine here to be attending grad parties, but as a general rule, people like smaller bite-size type stuff like this. So, but like I said, just look for a smaller, your simple shapes. Just look for a round, or if you got a boy that played football, maybe you could even look for a little miniature football shape, or, you know, something like that. You don't have to make it look like a football, especially, but just to bring in some school colors and mix things up. You can have a variety of things, but keep them small, keep them simple, and let people grab them. Okay? You have another question?
Yep.
Okay, what do we got?
Someone wanted to know, how far ahead would you say a chocolate-covered pretzel would last or is good for if they're trying to prep ahead?
You can make those weeks ahead. Okay? Once you get done, the biggest thing, anything chocolate like this, as long as you don't have anything perishable as far as like a filling that you've made with whipped cream or something like that, but as long as it's just like a chocolate covered pretzel, chocolate covered Oreo, something like that, you can make those weeks ahead. Okay, and this cookie, just your little plain chocolates that you've done, any of that you can make ahead, and just once you've got them done, put them in a box. I recommend, you don't want it airtight, okay, in case there's still any moisture, but I recommend put them in like a cake box, so it's a cardboard, but air can still circulate a little bit, okay? So, there we have, oh look, I kept it a little bit closer to an hour today. Yay me. So there we have a variety, like I said, hopefully some quick and simple ideas for you. Just to bring in some different snacks, but still keep it, you know, on the simple level, a little stress-free for you. We have a question?
Yep.
Okay, what's our question?
So someone said, with graduation season coming up,
Yes.
what do you have ideas for the lowly police academy cadet who's graduating? For the different academies and stuff.
Did they really say the lowly?
No, I'm just
Oh.
no.
I was gonna say police aren't lowly.
No, they just don't get talked about as much.
Yeah, police don't get the recognition as much, I know.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are real big on the whole blue line thing right now. So you could do, you know, just something like this and just run a blue line of chocolate through it. It would still show up if you dip stuff in dark chocolate. You could still do. Other than that, because I don't think police academies have like colors, like a school color type thing. My only thought, blue is kind of the standard color. Maybe if you're doing sprinkles, do some different shades of blue and mix them together, blues and whites, mix them together, or possibly even some golds. Mix that in and do something like that. But my thought would run to blue line, because that kind of embodies where the nation's at right now. People are, if you hear blue line, you're instantly thinking of cops. So that would be my thought, but I'm sure there's probably ideas out there on Pinterest and stuff too. So go scope that out. All right, Mr. Simmons, do we have a winner today?
Yes, we do.
We do. All right.
A Sylvia Ratcliffe.
Sylvia Ratcliffe, R-A-T?
R-A-T-C-L-I-F-F.
All right. Yeah, Sylvia Ratcliffe. Congratulations, Sylvia. Not sure if that's a local name or I don't recognize it, but could be. I don't know. But again, if you would send me your mailing address, we can get it mailed out. If you do happen to be local, you can stop at the store, pick it up if you like. If you need it mailed out, just let me know if there's a certain color theme that you want. If you do have graduation parties coming up, let me know. We can coordinate the sprinkles and the chocolate and everything. Other than, like I said, burgundy's a tough one. These little sprinkles are the only thing that we have in burgundy right now. Okay? Which I do have them just as burgundy in there, but those we mixed with the gold. So let me know if you have a color preference on your sprinkles and chocolate and stuff, and we can color coordinate for you. But otherwise, congratulations. So I thank you so much for joining us. If you missed at the beginning, as I mentioned, Friday is going to be our series finale for our quarantine 11 a.m. videos. I will still be doing something probably once a week, I'm guessing in the evening, or I may see about pre-filming on Sunday or something to still air during, I don't know. I'll do some kind of poll or something and see what people want as far as time. But as far as me doing this live while the store's open, it's not working out so well. So call it what it is. But Friday we are going to be back for our final show, and I will be doing some sort of a 3D cake something. Okay? I have to send the little mister here to Home Depot or Lowe's or something for me. And it's going to depend on how frustrated he gets shopping based on what I'm telling him to get me. So we'll see what he comes back with, and that may alter my plans a little bit. I think I know what I'm doing, but we'll see what comes back. So I think we're going to have a gravity-defying something going on. But we'll see for sure. Okay? So just a heads up, Friday probably will go over an hour. I plan on that right now, to do anything if I've got to do some sculpting and stuff with some cake. But so hopefully we will see you Friday at 11, and spread the word, because if you know me at all, there's a very good chance Friday's giveaway is probably not going to be limited to $40 giveaway. I have a couple ideas of what I'm doing. We may have multiple giveaways. We may have a couple $100 giveaway. I haven't totally decided that yet, but it'll be an epic giveaway. Be there. So, thanks again. We'll see you Friday. Bye-bye.